4 were spent 4-on-4, and then at the first break after 4 minutes, they would go 3-on-3, and then do a shootout if it was still tied. And they saw a marked improvement in games that were actually decided with team play that way. So that helped move things along.
Chad, do you think that maybe the reason why Ben Bishop didn't like it or called it a gong show is, Will, that, I mean, there's definitely a better chance of getting injured on a 3-on-3, I would think, as a goalie than you would on a shootout.
I think so, yeah. But, you know, the goalies are strange anyway.
Oh, yeah.
No offense. But, I mean, I play goalie now, but I just think that it's too entertaining a product and too good for the league in general to give the goalies what they want, and that if indeed they all want that. Shootouts are an individual competition, and at least 3-on-3 there's team play involved, so your team is winning, and not just if you've got Jussi Jokinen on your team, so he can get you the shootout winner.
Well, and with the 3-on-3 format, it gives you get the opportunity to really experience the speed of the game. We're in a league now where players are faster than ever before, and they've already made rules to try and increase more space for the players. With 3-on-3, you really get to see that speed in action. You get to see those long passes in action. It's an exciting way to watch the game. And when you talk about things favoring the goaltender in NHL, I think that evolution has already occurred enough as it is. Goaltending equipment being at its largest that it's ever been. And look, with the goalie coaching and their goalies overall, the depth of quality goaltenders is more prevalent than ever before. So you got to kind of start to flip this back a little bit. I mean, the scoring has been so low. When you're seeing a scoring leader at the end of a season in 80-point range, we need to get some scoring back here.
Oh, absolutely. It's sad. It's sad to see that, you know, it's gotten down to 82 and 83 when, you know, I'm growing up with Gretzky and he's hitting 212.
Right.
Which was, it's just video game numbers if you look at it now. But I thought it was really interesting last night. Of all the options John Cooper had to put on in a 3-on-3, the first shift went to Alex Killorn and Val Filppula, who aren't exactly your top offensive guys, and they're not exactly your top speed guys, but they created a chance for the first shift, and then 2 of the triplets came out for the second shift, and then the third shift, they could have gone to Druin and Stamkos or whoever, but they put Killorn and Filppula back out because they're the best defensive forwards, and sure enough, it worked for them. So I thought that was really interesting. Our coach is going to load up with defensive forwards and take their chance that they can score rather than putting their top-end skill out there where they may give up more chances.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that as well. The first thing I expected was a guy like a Kucherov or something out there with that kind of speed. You bring up Druin, though, and there's some high expectations. First of all, there's just some high expectations for the Lightning in general. It seems like every pundit, when you listen to them talk on NHL Network, they're all favoring the Lightning to not only go to the finals again, but to win the Stanley Cup.
We didn't lose, or the Lightning didn't lose a single player, right?
The only player that was swapped out was basically Brendan Morrow for Eric Condra, who's more of he's a penalty kill specialist. So in that regard, we actually improved the team slightly, but with these high expectations on the Lightning, there's also some high expectations on Jonathan Drouin as well. So what do you project? What do you expect to see from Drouin this year?
If he stays on the top line, he's going to be a point-per-game player. But can he stay on the top line? I think the last 5 minutes of the game, and, of course, in overtime, he didn't see the ice. So is it going to be a situation from Cooper where he doesn't trust him in situations where the game is tight and at the end? If that's the case, then he's not going to get the minutes to be a point-per-gamer. But I think he showed enough in the preseason, and I think he's gone through all the classes, so to speak, that he had to go through last year, where he can stick on that top line. And I thought that was their best line yesterday. Callahan got the goal, albeit on the power play, and the line combined for 2 goals. And obviously they weren't on the ice for the winner, but when you look at their line yesterday compared to the triplets, I thought they had a better game. So hopefully Cooper likes chemistry. So hopefully the chemistry sticks and the line can stay in the lineup.
What do you make of the logjam of depth at defense? I was surprised to see Kuku and Nesterov staying with the big club. So you've, in effect, got 8 defensemen right now, right? So how do you think this whole thing plays out?
It was originally like that, yes, and then they ended up sending Cuckoo to Syracuse.
Wow.
I guess they just kept him up there so they could get under the cap at a certain number, and they had to keep him to a certain day, and then, sure enough, they sent him to Syracuse. But Nesterov, they have 7 right now. Nesterov was the healthy scratch last night. I think he brings more than Schuster does. He can help on the power play, but they went with Schuster last night, and maybe they'll rotate him. We'll see.
What I was reading Bolt Prospects last week. What's your nickname for Nesterov again? You guys call him the Chelyabinsk. What was the nickname?
Oh yeah, Pete, the Chelyabinsk shooter, or Chelyabinsk. I don't even remember. Pete did that.
Cracked me up when I saw that on the site last week.
Oh yeah, it's probably up there, and of course I can't remember it when I need to. He did say, Pete did say about Nesterov that he starts shooting from the parking lot when he comes to the game. So I'll take that on the power play.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, hey Chad, do you think how much credence do you think it holds it now that obviously last year nobody thought the Bolts were going to do what they did, and they kind of came as a surprise. And as the year went on, I'm sure teams took them a little more seriously, but obviously they got the proverbial target on their back this year. Do you put any credence in that? Is that going to make a difference? Do you think teams will play them harder?
I think it'll affect them. I think they'll get the other team's best every night, whereas they weren't really getting that until the second half last year. And there's enough stars on the Lightning team where, at least defensively, you're going to have a lot of attention to detail from the opposition. And one thing the Lightning has to do that they didn't do last night is they have to come out and exceed the other team's energy level and the other team's effort level. And if they expect to kind of just throw their helmets on the ice and get the game to 3-on-3 every night, I don't think it's going to work. They still have to put some effort in.
There was a push after last season. There was a lot of complaints about not enough penalties being called. Last year, we had an extraordinary low amount of penalties being called. I
think the NFL took them all.
Yeah, well, but last night I was surprised to see 2 penalty shots called in that game, neither of which looked apropos to me.
No, and apparently they changed something in the way they're going to call it, where they're going to award more. And apparently Yzerman was pretty upset about it in the elevator on the way down after the game last night, upset about those calls. But I didn't think either one of them was a penalty shot opportunity. But maybe, they're always trying to increase scoring. Of course, ironically, you've got the challenge system now that's taking away goals, so they probably even each other out. But if those 2 instances are going to be penalty shots every time, then the NHL is going to blow away the record for penalty shots in a year.
Did you have you been watching Jimmy Kimmel lately, Chad?
Just.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yes. I actually, my wife was flipping through channels, and I never watched Jimmy Kimmel. I always watch Fallon, but sure enough, it landed on that. I'm like, oh, hold on.
Yeah, pause.
Oh. Did we lose Chad?
Yeah.
Did his phone disconnect?
Hey, yeah, he disconnected.
Well, Chad, if I'll text him real quick, and
I'll call him back.
Can you call him back through Skype?
I can call him back.
Oh, there you go.
I'll call him back.
It's like you're a good producer or something.
Hello.
It's like you know what you're doing.
It's Chad.
Hey, man, sorry about that.
We lost you for a second.
Dude. That's crazy. So go ahead.
I wasn't moving. Interesting.
You were flowering. You were going through the channels. You stopped. You saw somebody talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning, and
yeah. Well, they said I saw that girl, and she said something about a hockey player. I'm like, oh, this will be interesting. And then she said it's Tyler Johnson, and of course he's denying the whole thing. So we could go full TMZ on this and get to the bottom of it, but I don't think we will.
Well, he's got a girlfriend. Of course he's going to deny it.
Of course.
Well, it was funny though. I liked the way she tried to mask it because she actually said his initials were TJ. She didn't come out and say his name. But then if you research the history of players and Lightning rosters, there's only one guy that's ever had the initials TJ on the Lightning.
Other than Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson's not on the Lightning.
He wasn't on the Lightning? All right, I thought he played.
Her look of shock when the interviewer figured it out right away was like, oh, how did you get that?
Well, that's
really?
That
was right there.
I mean, it's kind of his nickname anyway, right? Everybody's like TJ, I mean, it's not like...
Exactly.
Wow, dude. Did anybody catch? I saw this interesting thing the other night. It was Tyler Johnson and Andre Palat on with Kelly Ring, and they were doing something like prior to the game show, like they were doing like a newlywed game with those two guys. What would your partner? Because I guess they're roommates or whatever.
Yeah, they're real tight.
Did anybody watch that? Did you see that, Chad? By any chance?
I did not see that, no, but now I'm curious.
Oh, my God, dude. I swear to God, TJ was, like, making eyes at Kelly Ring the entire time, and he's just trying to be a smartass. He definitely is a little player, I think, man. He's got some game in him.
Was it Kelly Ring or Kelly Nash?
Kelly Nash,
Yeah,
sorry.
because Kelly Ring's getting a little up there.
Yeah, no. It was a cute one that used to
I mean, unless TJ is in the Pumas,
sorry.
I'm thinking it's got to be Kelly
You
Nash.
never know, dude.
Hey, so what do you make about getting out of the Lightning? What do you make about Yager? He says he's bringing the mullet back, man.
Is he? Good. He should, because that was glorious.
It is.
And, 25 years from now, when I'm talking to my son about hockey I watch, I'm going to mention that mullet, like in the top 5 things that I recall.
That's the most legendary NHL mullet. I mean, that's right. I would say he's probably number 1, and then Ron DeGay from the New York Rangers is probably number 2 because he had the perm mullet.
Oh,
that's you go back to the 80s and the Rangers.
Yes. Yep.
That's a really good mullet.
Yep. Quality stuff.
Maybe it's going to bring back a trend here in hockey. But and one of the things I wanted to talk to you about as well, I like getting your take on things that are non-Lightning as well. And the biggest hyped debate that we're seeing right now, I think, is the Connor McDavid versus Jack Eichel debate. Obviously, both of these guys have huge expectations as the number 1 overall pick and the number 2 overall pick. And you heard before the draft both of these players being referred to as generational players, and they liken these two guys to a Sidney Crosby and that kind of superstar potential. Last night you see Connor McDavid, his first game, no points. Jack Eichel scores a sweet goal in his first game.
Yep, I think the hype is real, though. Watching both of those guys, Eichel with BU, because the Lightning have a guy there, John McLeod, and then watching McDavid in the OHL, his Otters beat out Anthony DeAngelo's Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds in the conference final. And McDavid is the real deal. He's going to be up there with Crosby. It might take him a little longer. I think Crosby took the league by storm when he came in, but it might take McDavid a little longer. And Eichel, I don't know if I put him as a generational talent, but he's quite good. He's probably worthy of a number 1 overall pick in a traditional year, but I don't think he would have been a slam dunk number 1 in a regular year without a McDavid. But it's good for both those franchises, and it's good for the NHL.
Chad, I'm a firm believer through all sports, and you're seeing a lot more because the training level and youth is, light years ahead of that it was in the 70s, 80s, and such. Because you see it in all sports now. These younger players actually come in and have a more impact, I think, than they ever have, man. And I got to think it's because, what's happening when they're 10, 11, and 12, they're actually receiving professional training as opposed to playing, backyard hockey.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I noticed in Estero this year at the Lightning Prospects Tournament, I'm in the locker room, and most goalies, and you guys know this, most goalies, they don't train near as hard as the other ones when it comes to physique and stuff. And I was interviewing Adam Wilcox, and he had like a tank top on or something, I don't know. But the guy was absolutely chiseled. And for a goalie, a college goalie, to be that I don't want to say in shape, but that polished training-wise, as though he has spent every minute in the gym, I thought it was pretty impressive. But the competition's so stiff, you got to get ahead any way you can, and that's what they're doing with themselves.
One last thing for you I want to throw at you. Steven Stamkos, the much talked about situation. Obviously, he's a free agent after this year, an unrestricted free agent. We all speculated when we talked in the past that he would probably be signed during the offseason. Obviously, that hasn't happened thus far. The salary numbers you keep hearing are somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 million a year. And with these contracts coming up for some of these other younger players, look at Chicago in the offseason and the struggles that they had to keep their core together. Do you think that this contract's going to happen and it's just a matter of the two sides coming together, or do you sense some reluctance in terms of whether they want to commit to this or not? Because you look at Stamkos and his off and on performance in the playoffs, and I